Welcome back to Talk of the Townsends, the show with the unnecessarily long intro statement that I really wish we hadn't shackled ourselves to. I'm Benedict Townsend.
And I am Hannah Townsend.
I'm Hannah Townsend.
I did try and say it a bit ASMR-y.
I like it. It's something about achieving enlightenment or something. I don't think there's ever been a week where I've really known what the intro is, but the point is we try.
Yeah, the point is we give it a go every single week. And we are in another new podcast studio.
Keeping up our tradition of being in a brand new space every week forever.
Guessing is it's like we're doing a tour, but we're the only two people who go to each record. Do you know what I mean?
Well, someone said in our comments, didn't they? They said if we ever did a live show, it should be called
Out on the Townsends.
Pretty Good. Yeah.
So if we ever go on tour,
Out on the Townsends.
Out on the Townsends will be the name, and that person will get a free ticket.
Well, they'll get a 5% discount to the VIP Gold package. Hey, Hannah Townsend, how you been?
Speaking of gold, we went to Japan.
The home of gold.
There was quite a bit of gold in Japan. Red and gold.
Cultural gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, red and gold roofs. We've just got back from Japan. We spent 2 weeks there in the land of the rising sun. It was beautiful.
I would call it the land of the rising fun.
You would. Not me, though. I take Japan very seriously.
No, it was great.
There is that meme that's like thing, normal face, thing Japan, excited face. That was me the entire time. Yeah. Every cliche about a person who goes to Japan and freaks out. That was both of us.
The thing with Japan is when you ask someone who's been, how was Japan? They're almost like, I can't describe it. It was just amazing. And before I was like, what an irritating and annoying thing to do. Just like, tell me what it's like or try and give me a picture. But like, I do get it now in the sense that like you just can't deliver all the information, and especially coming from the UK and it being such a cultural difference. Like it's very hard to like sum that up in like a couple of neat kind of sentences. So it's almost like I won't try, but you just go.
Yeah. And it feels like anything you could say would be underselling it.
100%.
Because the things we had heard about Japan before we went, which we'll discuss more in a minute, but stuff like it's very clean there. It's such an understatement to what it's actually like when you get there. But you're right. Trying to even describe what it's like to go there is a fool's errand. Anyway, here's a whole podcast episode of us describing our trip to Japan.
Well, now we've got a bit more time with it.
We can really dig in.
Will we do it justice? No. But will we try? And will it be a lengthy explanation to still not do it justice?
Yes. I don't know how you wanted to approach this, but I thought to begin with, perhaps we could run through some of the most common things we were told about Japan beforehand, and we could vouch whether or not they're true.
Fact or fiction?
Fact or fiction, starting with people, and I always thought this was a strange thing to comment on, but people would say, it's so clean there. The streets are so clean. And people would say this to me, and I'd be like, okay, I don't spend a lot of my time like looking at the streets. I try and avoid being close to the ground. But my God, it's so clean there. It's actually crazy.
Fact.
But it's like, it feels quite surreal. Like you're walking through the streets of Tokyo, this major capital city filled with people, and the streets are gleaming. It looks like a video game or something.
Just no rubbish. Although I guess the counterpart of that is people told us there'll be no bins.
Yes.
Also fact.
Which are weirdly not related because it's clean because people just don't litter. But then coincidentally, and almost to rub it in our noses of how clean it is, there are no bins, like anywhere.
No.
And that is so annoying.
That is irritating, I will say. I guess as like someone who's traveled there, I think people who live there often carry a little, bag of rubbish.
Yeah.
But we didn't have said bag of rubbish. So we were just holding our rubbish for couple of hours every day.
We were buying quite a lot of egg sandwiches from Family Mart, who do Family Mart and 7-Eleven, the convenience stores there, which sell everything, and everything they sell is amazing.
Really tasty.
We were getting through quite a lot of egg sandwiches, which meant we had quite a lot of egg sandwich packaging that we were carrying for upwards of like half an hour until we hit a bin.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah, always want to make friends with someone who just kind of vaguely smells of egg.
Yes.
We gave ourselves the egg ick.
Nice to meet you. I can't shake your hand. I have egg packets in my hand, but at least they're old. I guess there's the thing that, everyone is very polite. The first time you go to a train station and they have like little lines on the platform where everyone will queue up single file to get in the carriage, and everyone does it silently, fully compliant. No one will ever deviate from that. I mean, it's quite wonderful actually, because there's no barging into the carriage and stuff, but it's also just like a marked difference to London where there's a bit of a free-for-all.
Yeah, I love the order.
Oh, I do too.
In the sense that I love that no one smokes.
No, there's very little smoking.
Very little smoking.
We saw that weird outdoor smoking area where there was like 60 people crammed into a tiny space, all smoking, because it was the only acceptable smoking space.
I guess one thing that was fact, and we very much expected, was that the majority of people didn't speak English. Obviously, they spoke Japanese. We tried our best picking up the Japanese language.
Arigato gozaimasu.
We got better. Like, I think it's a confidence thing, right?
Yeah.
With learning a language of like, we really wanted to be as kind of polite as we could be and learn as much. But in Japan, it was quite varied. Like, we met some people who spoke quite a lot of English.
Yeah.
But I felt like you ran before you walked in the coach store.
One thing I kept doing, like such a stupid tourist, is I kept holding up words to people, because I'm like, that's the standard thing you do, you know, in most countries where they have the same alphabet as us, right? Where you go, okay, I don't know how to say where is Marseille in French, but I can show them the word Marseille on my phone and they'll be able to point me. So I kept holding up my phone to like Japanese train guards, and then I'd forget, like, they use an entirely different alphabet. I know this is obvious, but I'd be holding up their phone and they very politely would look at my phone and then just kind of look at me. And then I'd be like, oh, sorry, Shinjuku. And they go, yes, Shinjuku, that way. but yeah, we were in this coach store and there was this really, really lovely, really enthusiastic shop assistant who spoke some English.
Yeah.
Spoke way more English than I speak Japanese.
Yeah.
But because she was really trying with the English and really saying stuff, yeah, I kind of forgot the limits. So at one point she said, sort of in a roundabout way, she said, this store opened on the 29th of February. And I went, oh, leap day. And she just went like, no, as in like, I can't even begin to fathom what you've just said. And Hannah was like, you're going to go with leap day
I
of all
was like,
concepts?
A bit of a leap, if you will.
Well, I'll allow it.
I was like, as if you're going to go there. Of course. I mean, do they have leap days in Japan? I don't know how that works, but I was like, it's a bit of a reach.
Even if they have leap days, which they might well do, they're probably not, they're going to call it something entirely different to leap day.
So then I was like really stressed. I was like, oh, don't worry. Not your best.
Not my best.
Another fact that we didn't know was a fact, I guess, about Japan. Love a toilet. Fact.
I knew that they loved a toilet in the sense that they had fancy toilets, because every toilet is like the cliche, like amazing toilet that plays music and has a heated seat, 4 different types of bidet, you know, a little fireworks show for you. But also the quality of the toilets is there, but the sheer quantity of toilets. And the thing about Hannah and I, we're a couple of real pissers. We really are. We're the 2 weakest bladders in the Old West.
We seized the bidet.
We love a little wee. And my God, every 6 feet, there was a toilet. It was incredible.
And it was beautiful and it was clean. And we absolutely loved it. Quick question about toilets.
Yes.
Do you, when you go into a public toilet, do you choose the first toilet? Because you know statistically that's the cleanest toilet because people don't choose it.
What, because they think it's going to be the dirtiest?
I know I just delivered the stat, but I don't know the like science behind it. But I guess maybe psychologically people are like, yeah, that's the one that everyone would run into. Whereas actually it's the one the least people would run into. Obviously not people who've read their study, but it's the one that the least people would run into.
You getting Toilet Weekly or something? Where are you reading these? I guess it's because you would go in and you'd be like, am I going to settle for the first option? Am I not going to give myself other options? So you go and check the rest of them. And then if you see another one, you're not going to be like, well, I'll go back to 1. You'd be like, I'm already here at 4.
But say you go in and they're all free. If you didn't know that fact, I feel like it would be a bit nuts to go for number 1. Because if you, as soon as you come out, if someone's standing there, like they can see in.
If I'm going for number 1, I wouldn't be going into the stall at all, Hannah. I'd be going to the urinal. And this is Talk of the Townsends, the number 1 show in the world. I'll be honest, my standards are pretty low for a toilet. As long as it isn't just horrific in there, I'm like, this is probably as good as we're going to get.
I tend to go for number 1.
Well, and that's why it's so good there's so many toilets, because when you're number 1ing, as we were all the time, they're everywhere. It's the trade-off, though. You can have, it's like one of those... It's like the world's most boring genie. He's like, you can have twice as many toilets, but half as many bins. Do you take my deal?
To be honest, moving forward, I would take that deal.
I would. I need the loo more than I need the bin.
I guess another fact about Japan is those cheese coins that are viral.
Boo.
Are genuinely one of the worst things I've ever eaten. Fact. And don't be fooled because, you know, you see people on the World Wide Web biting into them. The cheese is stringy. It looks good. That was horrible. And I've got pretty poor taste buds. You know, I like everything. I really do.
We also, the day we ate that, I think I was maybe more hungry than I've ever been in my life. We
still hated it.
Yeah, I went in. I was the perfect audience. I was like the hungriest boy there ever was, and I hated it. It truly tastes of nothing. Like literally nothing. Like you watch it being made, it's basically like batter with cheese inside. It's like two big waffles with cheese in the middle.
Yeah.
And you're like, surely that would be a taste sensation. But it truly,
A taste sensation. It was shockingly bad. And when we went on this food tour, this guy basically told us that a couple of years ago, these cheese coins just didn't exist. And then this marketing firm or this food place came in and was just like got a load of influencers eating these cheese coins.
yeah.
And now it's like a thing that people do when they go to like, is it more famous in Osaka or is it just?
No, we had it in Tokyo at the Don
okay.
Quixote store. Yeah, but apparently he was like, these did not exist like 8 months ago. Then suddenly they're everywhere because they just got all these influencers to eat them.
It's amazing.
We got fooled because we saw it on TikTok. We didn't know it was, I thought that was an authentic samurai recipe. No, but it was really good. I don't think we would have got it if we weren't hungry. And then it was even worse because it tasted of nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And raw batter sounds kind of nice.
But it was neither sweet nor salty, nor anything.
Go on, girl, give us nothing.
Do you think that was the worst thing we ate in Japan?
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
What was the best thing we ate in Japan?
We had some good sushi.
It's some really good sushi.
Really good sushi.
Classic.
Really good sushi. One fact is that there is a heck of a lot of gacha in Japan. Fact. Do you want to explain what gacha is?
Sure, if you don't know, it's those things, they're those vending machines where you get those like plastic orbs with a little plastic like figurine inside. But it could be anything.
It can be anything.
The things I love is that they have little collections that are really specific. Like there was one, it was all like pieces of roadworks.
Oh, fun.
So it'd be like the little stand back sign, the little like road digging machine.
Sure.
There was one, I literally said to you, I wish I could get a gacha of a gacha machine.
And then we found it.
But it was broken.
It was broken. It was like the only one that was broken as well.
I know.
Your dreams.
It was a weird sign because the heavens were like, here you go, psych.
Whoever invented the just like novelty of not knowing what you're going to get and that dopamine hit.
Oh my God, Hannah got in Japan when it came to like mystery box stuff.
I just loved it. There's something so thrilling about paying for something that might not be the one that you want. I loved it. And I don't know what it is.
It's like gambling, I guess.
Well, I guess when we were there, we did gamble.
Yeah, we went to a pachinko parlor. Could not begin to tell you how pachinko works. It's basically like one of those seaside games where like the coins fall, but it's like hundreds of ball bearings. We decided one late night to go into a pachinko parlor and try and play this game.
Oh my, oh my. Oh my, my, my.
Oh no, no, no. The game was, because it's not just the balls falling, there's also like a slot machine element. There's like 15 different elements, obviously all in Japanese.
It's a bit of a sensory overload as well because there seems to be on the back of the screen,
Yeah.
there's almost like a video game behind it.
Well, yeah, it's like a slot machine thing. It's like constantly throwing numbers up and you're trying to get numbers in a row. My friend Sam also, who was out there, he said that apparently you actually have to play a pachinko machine for like hours
In order to win.
in order to win. Even if you're like up, you still need to get your money back. They're like $5 or whatever you put in originally. It takes hours. Also, our machine was genuinely yelling at us.
We moved this little buzzer thing round and I don't know, we were doing it too hard and it was like the loudest noise that was like basically alerting everyone in this little stadium that we were doing it wrong. And this woman she was like running over to us, trying to help us.
Yeah, this woman who worked there.
We had to give up. Like, we weren't going to learn it.
She was quite funny because she spoke no English at all, but she was really, really trying to teach us how to play this actually quite complicated game. After a while, she was like 1 second and left. And then we looked over and she was just helping someone else. Like she was just like, I'm done with them. They don't know how to do this. But it was yelling at us in like an anime voice.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was saying, but it was probably like, ow, you're hurting the machine. It was like
Yeah.
that kind of vibe.
I really believe, learn through doing. But in this case, I just believe you could not learn. I could not learn how to play that game through doing. Through money.
I was Googling like how to play pachinko and it was pulling up no answers.
We were lost.
We were lost.
Can we talk about the little boys on the boat?
Oh, this was one of the most wholesome things I've ever witnessed in my life.
I loved every single second of this interaction. And it was like a Google Translate advert.
It was. Can I set the
Vitele.
scene? We were in Osaka. We were in Dotonbori, which is like this amazing bit kind of on a river where there's like all these neon lights. It's super cool. We decided to go on a little boat cruise thing. They've got these little pretty cheap little river cruises you can do where you can see the lights. And there's these two little boys sat in front of us.
We kind of pick up that they're trying to speak to each other. Like they look the similar age. I would have thought they were like 7.
Yeah, one is sat in front of the other.
and they're trying to like talk to each other, and then one parent hands a little boy a phone, and he types, "My name is Ryan," into the kind of Google Translate, and then it translates into Japanese, and he like turns the phone, and then the other little boy, he types back in Japanese and like tells the other boy his name, and it was just so insanely sweet. And then Benedict got up on his phone, "Hi, my name's Benedict," and was like turning it to me, and I was like
smiling. I was like, should I do this? I didn't actually mean that. But I thought it'd be so funny to just kind of like try and join this conversation. "Hi, I'm Benedict. I'm 30. My favorite bit of all was when the kid who spoke English, because we were sat behind them. You know, we weren't like being too nosy. It's just that they were directly in front of us. We could see these phones right in front of us.
And they were also holding it up. So I kept on looking, it kept on catching my eye. And then I was like,
because they were holding it up to him, they were also just holding it up to us. But the kids who sat in front of us, we could see when he was typing on his phone what he was going to say to the other kid before he turned it around. And at one point, he just typed out, "Do you speak English?" This was like 10 minutes into the conversation. And I really love the idea that the kid would look at that and be like, "Oh, yes, sorry, no, I do. I was just joking. I was practicing my Japanese."
I was just kind of flaunting that I am bilingual.
Yes. But he turned it around. He was like, "Do you speak Japanese?" And the guy replied, and he was like, "No, only a little." No, he said, "Do you speak English?" And the other guy said, like, "Only a little bit." And he did a sad face.
And he said, "I'm sorry."
"I'm sorry," with a frowny face.
And then we tapped out of the conversation.
Yeah, and then we thought, leave them be.
We left it to them. But it was so insanely sweet. And then the little boys had a little picture.
Oh, yeah, the boat paused so you could get some photos next to this local landmark. And the two little boys, even though they just met, they got a photo together. The fact that it was happening at night in front of all this neon in Osaka, like it was something out of like a Google advert where you'd see it and roll your eyes and be like, that would never happen. It did happen.
It did happen. We were there. We were there to tell the tale.
And now I've put all my money into Google Translate.
It was sweet. So we'll say the only time we needed Google Translate, pretty much on the whole trip, like we really needed it, it failed us.
Yes.
We went into this little ramen restaurant, and this will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Yes.
You found it on Google Maps.
This episode is brought to you by Google, apparently. I actually think it was Apple Maps.
Was it?
Yeah, spread the love. Well, I opened the shutter. It was like there was no windows. There was no way to know this place was open. So we went in, and this really adorable little old lady appeared. And I was like, "Are you open?" And she spoke like no English whatsoever. And she was just like, "Sit," like pointing. I was like, "All right." So we sat down. We were the only people in this restaurant. Menu came out, obviously was in Japanese. I was like, "Do you have an English menu?"
No.
"Menu ego, I think it is." And she was like, just shook her head. She was like, "Absolutely not." We were like, "Fine." I was like, "Ramen?" She was like, "No idea what you're talking about." So then I was trying to use Google Translate to translate this menu. All we could do, we could get the restaurant up on Google, and there were, when people, I don't know who does this, but people submit photos of their meal to Google.
Yeah.
And so we just pointed at a picture of someone else's meal, and we were like, "This one?"
She was like, "Great.
She was like, "Yeah."
Sure."
And it was maybe one of the best meals I've ever had in my life.
It was absolutely delicious.
Because it was just her.
She was just cooking for us.
She took the order and she went in the back, and I was like, "Is there a chef?" No, the chef was her. It was basically like having a home cooked meal.
It was lovely.
And at the end, she was like so great. We were like, "Thank you so much. It was so delicious." She was like, "Thank you, thank you."
Loved it.
Although
Loved
actually,
her.
as we were leaving, she was like, "Thank you very much." And I'm like, hold on. Hold on. Is she pulling the same prank as that little boy on the boat where she had English the whole time?
Didn't know ramen, but did know "thank you very much."
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And she did say it in an Elvis accent.
Thank you very much. She did have snake hips as well, I noticed. Was there anything that you discovered in Japan that really changed your life that you'd recommend? Because for me, it was Crunky. I picked it up because I thought, Crunky, that's the funniest name for anything anywhere, right? It's obviously meant to just be crunchy. Why have they made it Crunky? That's amazing. So I bought Crunky. We tried it as a bit of a joke. Delicious. Chocolate heaven. You've actually made a whole video documenting my obsession with Crunky on your TikTok.
You were more taken by it than others on the trip.
Not everyone has got incredible taste.
I thought it was fine, but you've got a box of Nesquik going stale at home, and it's kind of the same.
It's not even close to being the same. Oh yeah, this box of barefoot wine is exactly the same as a Chateau Nerf de Crunky. No.
Look,
For a real crunkster like me, you can tell the difference.
I'm glad that you found a new love.
But did you discover any loves out there?
I will say, we were told that there was like not a lot of milk in Japan. That's not like a huge part of their diet, but my goodness, the little convenience store, milky, there was just so many things that just tasted, and the taste was milk, but like in the glorious way that you want like a milk flavored thing to taste. Like everything almost tastes like those little Milka ice creams, which is just, for me, that is just my nirvana.
Creamy.
But milk. Not creamy, milky. Milka.
Milka. So as you can imagine, Hannah and I were going into these convenience stores, loading up on egg sandwiches and milk.
It was a big trip.
We were cool.
One thing that I keep thinking about from the Japan trip is when we were walking through the park and we saw these two people having like almost like a photo shoot. And there was this girl holding 31 balloons. And my next age...
Sorry, to be clear, she was holding balloons in the shape of the numbers 3 and 1.
Sorry.
She was not holding 31 balloons. That'd be a lot.
She was taking off.
So she was flying away to her death.
Although it was the same part that we saw the guy. There's this famous guy in Japan, and if you go, try and find him.
Yep.
I don't know how you would track him down, but he walks many, many dogs a day. And he just walks through the park holding them, and then he just shouts out the number of how many dogs he had. So when we saw him, it was 18. So he was just like, 18.
And he says it like, oh, yeah. And because we were walking through, we'd never heard of him. Our friend who like lives out there was like, oh, my God, it's the dog walker. You've hit the jackpot. We were like, what? And then out of the distance, we just hear, 18.
There's 18 little dogs. Like
you counted them.
Everywhere. 18. He wasn't lying. Fact. Speaking of Japan facts, and he was just walking along, and our friend said that was the most dogs he'd ever seen him holding. I have since been on his Instagram and seen a 20, which would have been
wow, God, then it would have been the best holiday ever.
But yeah, strength in numbers, many, many dogs. But
strength in numbers, many, many dogs.
You're doing that to the tune of that.
What is that
fish.
tune?
It's that
oh yeah,
£1
very, very good.
£4 fish.
£1 fish, very, very cheap. £1 fish,
Very
18 dogs. Can you give me a really cinematic fact?
Fact.
Cool. I'm going to go back into the previous bits of the episode, and anytime we say fact, I'm going to throw that in as a drop.
Fact. Someone on my video the other day said that I had that thing that people do when they lower their voice.
Oh, vocal fry.
That I don't.
I don't.
Fact.
I don't even have
Hannah
vocal
has
fry.
vocal fry. Fact.
Fact.
Is the vocal fry, is it more that you're like, or is it more that you're no?
No. It's more like, it's like Valley Girl, kind of like back of the
Oh.
throat. But there's some people who argue that there's nothing wrong with vocal fry and that it's often used sexistly because
Hey.
it's a criticism that is often made of women and rarely of men.
Hey.
This has been Benedict's Feminism Corner. Fact. 18. £1 fish.
I don't think I do have vocal fry, but I did grow up watching like The Simple Life, and that was quite like,
Oh my
like
God.
Harrison. Let's cast our minds back to the park before the dog walker came.
Yes.
And we see these two people, and there's this girl holding 2 balloons, one a big 3, one a big 1. And I'm like, 31, because that's going to be my next age. I was like, I could jump in there, get my photos early in a lovely park in Japan.
But we were looking at this and we went, that girl's very young to be 31. She wasn't very tall. She was
Like
slight.
very young skin. Obviously, I'm nearly 31 and also have very young skin, but very young skin, very small. And me and you are just like, God, she looks really young for 31. We're like, I guess,
Why would she lie with balloons? She must be 31.
And, the other woman's just taking photos of her. And then our friend turns to us and was like, I think she must be 13. We're like, yeah. I mean, I will say she was holding them the wrong way around. So
Yeah, she was lying to the part. I love that me and you as a
we were like,
unit.
well, I guess. I mean, bear in mind, now I look back on it, it was a child.
It was a
holding
child. It was
two.
fully a child.
But me and you were like, well, I guess she just looks really young for 13,
And
31.
Our friend was just like, obviously it's going to be 13. But the thing about me and you is, 1, we're very similar. 2, because of the sheer amount of time we spend together, we do have a bit of a hive mind.
Yeah.
Like we do feel she's
Sentences.
we do feel sentences. For goodness sake. We do though.
We do.
Sometimes you'll turn to me. It drives me a bit mad because it requires quite a lot of brain power on my part, but it is impressive. You'll turn to me and you'll be like, that guy, and I'll go, former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, and you'll be like, yes. And I'll be like, it's annoying that I knew that's what you meant, but I wish you'd give me more than that.
Yeah.
But I usually know what you mean.
The thing with me and you is, I think that we will accept things as facts very easily. We're like, well, I guess that girl's just 31.
Yeah.
I guess that child is just 31.
That nice lady, she can vote. She's probably got a house.
And it was clearly her mum taking photos of her.
Yeah, we were like, 31-year-old, best friends with like a 50-year-old. It's just one of those standard situations. Because that's the thing, our brains are so kind of hive mind that when we're wrong together.
Yes.
A couple that is wrong together is together long together.
Hey,
High five. Fact.
fact.
Well, Hannah, I think we can conclude that Japan is a land of contrasts.
Hey, and is this making Fuji?
Well, because we can't be in the shot at the same time because it's two different cameras. I'll splice the middle.
And also, I forget it's a podcast, isn't it? So for the audio listeners, imagine Mount Fuji in the background of us.
Yeah, we're putting our arms in the air together to form a mountain. It's good content. Thank you so much to everyone who listens. We're keeping these up, okay? Thank you so much to everyone who listens to the podcast or watches the videos on YouTube or TikTok. Make sure to follow, subscribe, whatever it is, wherever you get your content. My name is Benedict Townsend.
And I have been Hannah Townsend. I like to say it like that as if I've been playing a character.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not that you are Hannah Townsend.
And I've been playing Hannah Townsend.
Thank you to Melanie D'Amico for playing Hannah Townsend. And we'll see you next time. Hannah, take us out with our famous catchphrase.
No, I really hate that.
There it is.